Hey, everybody. This is Simone Spence. Nice to meet you and see you all again. Um, for those of you who don't know me, I am CEO and founder of a company called Don't Get Mad, Get Paid, and we are back child support enforcement specialists. But before I did this, I was a private child support consultant for many years, and yada, 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 yada. So just want to say, hey, I want to thank you all for coming into the group today to chat with me and to chat with each other. I started this group so that it could really be a gift to all of the moms that and dads, parents who have child support collection problems. We're here to answer questions that you might have to help you to further your child support case. We're here to learn from each other. And most importantly, what I want you to know is that this group was designed to help you and to get you further along in your case. And the only reason why I mention, a little bit about my background and, where I come from and what I've been doing for years is because it's important for you to know that, I've been in the game for over 2 decades, fighting the fight. I've been on the front lines, testifying before Congress, writing books, being a consultant, helping moms to collect. So I come to the table with an enormous amount of experience as well as know-how and empathy in a big way for what everybody is experiencing. For those of you who don't know any of my background, because maybe you haven't been following me all of these years, I was technically, one of my own first clients because I had a child support problem myself many years ago, figured out my solutions, and started helping other people, started helping other moms to get through. And I realized just how bad the situation is out there. I mean, quite literally, there is no one out there that's fighting for us the way that we're fighting for ourselves. And that should not be the case because, as we all know, if you don't pay a parking ticket or if you get a speeding violation and you don't pay your fine, they're coming after you and they're coming after you really fast. So, we can find a way to insist that, expenses like that be paid, but for some reason we can't make sure that our kids have, food on their table and, a roof over their head and their college tuition paid. And, that's not okay with me. Two people made these kids and two people need to support these kids. So anyway, learned how to fix my own situation, started helping other people, was a consultant for 20 years, started a company. So that's just a little background on me. I want to know who's in the room. I know that I've been chatting with some of you guys throughout the day a little bit. Some of you I may not have chatted with. Let me know that you're there. I'd love to know, A, what state you are in, and B, I'd like to know how much money that you are owed. I mean, over these years, and I'm sure that you guys know as well as I do, over all of the years that I've been doing this, I have heard so many egregious cases, and I've heard about, people being owed all kinds of crazy money. And I'd just like to know who's in the room today. So where are you? What state are you in? If you want to tell me where the paying parent or non-paying parent, as it might be, where they are, let me know that too. And how much money are you owed? I want to start figuring out who you guys are. So thank you for all of that. We're just going to chat just for a few more minutes because I know that sometimes, folks take a few minutes to come into the room. We're all busy. We're probably all trying to figure out how to make it to the live stream right now while we're cooking dinner and helping our kids with homework. But there's that. There's a few little things that I want to be offering to you guys tonight, which we also talked about in some of the groups that I'm in today. I want to talk about it a little bit more. I'm going to just throw a little taste out to you, but we're going to talk about it later. There's this thing that I'm starting called 100 Moms. And what we're basically looking for right now is we're looking for 100 moms who are looking for the absent parent. So maybe he's MIA completely. Maybe he moved around the corner. Maybe he moved to the next county, to the next state, across the country. Doesn't matter. You don't know where he is. or maybe you think you know where he is. Somebody today sent me an image of the guy's home, on Google, and they said this is where he lives. So maybe you think you know where he is. You definitely know where he is. You have no idea where he is, but you need to find him because you need to serve him. Or child support enforcement is doing one of the things where they're saying, you find him, give us the address, and then we'll go after him. Yeah, right. But regardless, you're looking for him because you don't know where he is, because you need to give it to DOR or child support enforcement, or you need to get him served, or there's some reason why you need to find him. We're looking for 100 moms, and we want to provide that service to you guys free of charge, no strings attached. Don't want anything from you other than to be able to help you find them. So it's just a project that we're doing right now. And so if you're one of these moms and you want to have this free service, this free location service to find dad for you, what you can do is we're going to be dropping a form in the comment section. Just fill out that form and we're going to get back to you right away. So you're going to see a form in the comment section. Fill it out. I think it's like 5 or 6 questions or something like that. And we're going to get right back to you about, helping you to find the absent parent. The other thing that I want to do is, with all of these live streams, we'll answer questions, right? So I usually come to the table with some kind of topic that we're going to be talking about, and we have one for tonight. But usually, whatever my topic is or isn't, it might help you, it might not help you, it might help somebody that you know, so you can share the information. Always share information that we give out because it's good. So even like that form that I just told you about, just as an example, the 100 moms form, share it with the moms that you know, because we all know that we know tons of moms that have this situation. So share it. There's a mom out there, I'm sure, that could use that service and is looking for a gift like this right now. But my topic or not, I know that you guys have questions, and if you have any questions that you want me to answer tonight, go ahead and ask. Oh, we have one that just popped up. Can a dad apply to find the absent parent? Yes. All right. So that's one of the things that I want to address. All right. So and another thing is, by the way, I'm not going to use your names online. So you know who you are. You asked the question. Let me go ahead and answer it for you. So the thing about it is that in our marketing, and I started doing this years ago, even before I started my company, even when I was just a consultant. In the marketing that I've always used, I've always said, mom's looking for dad. And the only reason why I do that is because over 90% of the time, it's the moms that are left holding the baby when a divorce happens or when an ending of a relationship happens, and she's the one on the receiving end of the child support. Do we help dads who are supposed to be receiving child support and mom's not paying? Absolutely. I don't care what gender you are. If you are not paying your child support, then the parent who is on the receiving end or supposed to be on the receiving end is absolutely able to avail themselves of any of our services that we offer. So the only reason we do that is, because it's just an easier thing to do in terms of making something like gender consistent. And so we go with moms because it's usually moms who are the one who are trying to collect. But do we help dads? Absolutely. Have I had some dads as clients over my years when I was a consultant? Absolutely. Have there been a lot of them? No. I've actually tried to encourage more dads to come forward, and we've always had more moms in the situation than we have. So yes, the answer to your question is we will help any dad who is trying to collect from a mom in the very same way that we're going to help a mom who's trying to collect from a dad. So absolutely. So again, any more questions, go ahead and pop them up. Otherwise, I want to go ahead and just jump into one of the topics that I wanted to cover tonight. So if you were here on one of our more recent live streams, the topic of that night was judgments. And just to recap on judgments, in case you didn't have an opportunity to attend that night, or if you did and you just need a recap on it, what a judgment document is a judgment document is a summary total of everything, every dollar that the absent parent owes you. For example, and I'm making this number up. Let's say that, dad is supposed to pay $1,000 a month, and he doesn't pay for 3 years. So 3 years have gone by. He now owes $36,000. And so mom goes to court and she says, I need to have a judgment against dad who owes me $36,000. So the word judgment is used very differently in different circumstances in child support court. A lot of times people will use it interchangeably when they're talking about a child support order, and they'll say something like, yeah, I've got a child support judgment against this person. He's supposed to pay me $1,000 a month. In the case, in terms of when you're trying to collect arrears, when you're trying to enforce your child support order, when you're talking about back child support, and that's what we specialize in, back child support. When we're talking about that, we're not talking about ongoing support. We're not talking about your child support judgment or your child support order for the ongoing payment. We're talking about that summary total of all of the money that he owes you. So in this case, in this circumstance, we're talking about the $36,000. So a judgment document is one document, one paper with the court seal and the judge's signature that says that person A owes person B a grand total of X amount of dollars. And in this case, we're talking about $36,000. So that is what the judgment document is. And the judgment document is a very important paper. And that is exactly what we want to talk about tonight. So what we want to talk about tonight is exactly what this document does for you. Because what the judgment document does for you is it gives you basically your hunting license. Okay, so it gives you the license to go out there and be able to use all sort of investigative services to find the other parent. What it does, and this is the topic, it makes you what is called a judgment creditor under the law. A judgment creditor basically is a person who can seize somebody else's assets. You can go and file the proper legal documents to place liens on somebody else's assets and seize them for an amount of money, $36,000 in this case, that they owe you. So to do a deeper dive on this, let's say that you don't pay your mortgage company, or you don't pay your car note, you don't pay Macy's, they get a judgment on you. They can literally file the right kind of documentation and take money out of your bank account. They can place a lien on your house and force a foreclosure. They can seize personal property that you have. Under the law, there are certain exemptions for certain types of property. But if you find the right kind of asset, there are people who collect classic cars, for example. There are people who have boats. There are people who have ATVs. There are people who have motorcycles. There are people that have assets that you can actually use your judgment document to be able to place a lien on somebody else's property and have it seized and sold, possibly at auction, unless it's something that's liquid and that comes directly to you. So what the judgment document does is basically gives you a hunting license to go out and find information. So occasionally I'll come across moms and they are, really on their game. They are, there's an old saying that goes across the internet every now and then on Facebook, and they'll say something like, an ex-girlfriend is like, better than an FBI agent because they know how to do all the digging and they know, how to go and find things on somebody. And it's so true. There are some people who just have a knack for, and if you piss them off enough, they have a knack for being able to find information on people. And I'll come across moms all the time, and they'll say, oh, I know exactly how to find his information. I know how to find this, and I know how to find that. And it's wonderful if you do. And if you do, share with all the other women that need this information. But there are certain things that you cannot do legally without having this judgment document, because what the judgment does, it gives you the legal permission to go ahead and do it. Now, just because you know how to get on Google University, or you subscribe to any of these, like, services that we can come across, like Spokio or People Search, and, some of those things, some of them are good, some of them are not so good. But it doesn't mean that you always have the legal right to find that kind of information. And if you are finding some information, chances are you're only finding some very base level information, because there's certain information that you just won't be able to access, or that you should not be able to access. And if you're accessing it, you're probably accessing it illegally, unless you have this judgment document. I mean, even in our business, part of what we do is we find, as I mentioned already, we find absent parents. We find, their income streams. We find their assets, both real and personal. We can find their bank accounts, including, deposit history, bank account numbers, and all of that, which helps us to help our clients to seize that information. But we can't even do that until our clients come to us with a judgment document, because otherwise it would be illegal for us to do that. And we have to follow certain rules to make sure that we keep our hands clean in this process. And we are, we've received certain credentialing to be able to access this information. So if you're finding certain information, maybe on the dark web or whatever, just be very careful, because you will not be able to actually use it. And if you are found using it, you'll probably end up in a whole lot more trouble than the non-paying parent, is in, even though they put you in the situation of needing to go find this information in the first place. So all I'm saying is that there's a lot of, and those of us out there who are in the game and we're fighting the fight, we know that there's a bigger fight out there than even what we're talking about right now, because there are a lot of laws that are changing. There are a lot of tides that are changing in terms of how people who are pursuing their child support are being viewed in the court system. So you need to be very careful before you find yourself hung up on something that causes you a bigger problem than you were looking for. All right, so we have another question that has come. What tools does child support use to locate? How can't driver's licenses, registrations, insurance, 1099 be used for location? Okay, so I see a few different questions in here. This question looks like, how are driver's licenses used for location to find somebody? And this is partly, exactly what we're talking about right now. So to give you a better example, which might wrap up into this question, another thing that we use that's readily used to find people are credit reports. And credit reports have a wealth of information on them. Even if there aren't very, very many new accounts on there, they have a lot of old account information there, which can help you to find new information. To give an example of what I'm talking about, so think about the last time you filled out a credit application. So you fill out the credit application, you have all the obvious things on there. You have your name, you have your address, you have your social security number, your date of birth. But then the credit card company or the loan company is going to go ahead and start asking you for other information, where do you bank maybe, or what other credit cards do you have, or what vehicles do you own? And you readily put all of this information down on your credit application because you want them to give you credit. All of this information is linked to who you are in your credit report, and it's all accessible to someone who files the right kind of document with the credit reporting agency. So if you file the right kind of document, all of this information can be found. So the reason why I use that as an example, because in the very same way, all of your information can be found with the Department of Motor Vehicles. So your address obviously can be found with the Department of Motor Vehicles, because you have your registration there, your driver's license is there. You have to renew your driver's license every couple of years. If you move out of state, you have to re-register your vehicle. So what all of this is about at the end of the day, this is all about following a paper trail. It's about, peeling back the layers of the onion, trying to figure out where you can find information on the other person. And, it's a big job. Someone is asking, well, what if they don't have any assets at all? So that's a really interesting question, because what's really funny is that through all of the years that I have been doing this kind of work, frequently moms have come and they have said, you know what, you can't get blood from a turnip. I don't think that he has anything. And what I have always said time and time again is, don't make that kind of assumption, because they're living somehow. Frequently, what I have found in all of my years is that, maybe there were a few years where they didn't have any assets at all, but typically what happens at a certain point, they get tired of living the life that they're living, or their new girlfriend doesn't want to live that way anymore, or their new wife doesn't want to live that way, or their mom got tired of them, and they go out and they get a job. And with a job sometimes comes, money in a bank account. Sometimes assets come after that. So I've always said to people, don't make the assumption that they don't have any assets, and to do the work and find out. Because what I have found out in my experience is that more often than not, even when you don't think that they have anything, they actually do have assets that you can collect from. One of my favorite stories, and this is actually available on my YouTube channel if you want to go and check it out. One of my favorite cases is a mom who came to me for help because she had received some modification papers way back in the day when we actually even addressed modification issues. But she came to us, and dad wanted a downward modification because he said that he was not making as much money as he was making years ago, and he could no longer afford to pay her the amount of money that he was paying her at the time. Don't even remember the amount of money anymore. It was a long time ago. But anyway, I stuck with it, and I said, look, don't make the assumption that he's telling you the truth. Do your own diligence and see what's going on. Well, she became a client of mine. To make a very long story short, and once we did all of our searches, we found out that she had that he had 14 income producing properties, and was making tons of money that he wasn't letting her know about. Meanwhile, he was going to court applying for a downward modification, telling her and the judge, lying and saying that he didn't have the money even that he was supposed to pay at the time. And so, of course, it doesn't pay, to lie that way in court, because we helped her to file the right kind of paperwork. And what ended up happening is that instead of a downward modification, an upward modification was done, and she ended up getting more child support. So anyway, the moral of the story is, don't assume that they don't have anything. It doesn't matter if it appears that they don't have anything, or if they tell you that they don't have anything. Do your diligence and find out what is what, because chances are you do find that they do have money that you can collect from. Of course, we have run into those circumstances when we do find that they have absolutely nothing. And sometimes the only thing that you could do is just sit on those and just wait until, until they do have some kind of assets. And, child support obligations, once you get your judgment, you have to have the judgment, but child support obligations actually don't even end. You can continually renew those judgments, and they actually don't disappear. Your children can actually collect on those judgments years after they become of age. All right, so we are bumping up against time now. We have one more question that I'm going to see if I can take very quickly, and then we'll end. We'll be back on next week for another half hour, Wednesday, 8 Central Time. This last question is, what if we know exactly where they are and where they work? What's the next step? Well, the very next step is that you still have to prove it out, because even if you know where they are, and even if you know where they work, you have to bring some kind of documentation to the courts that shows that you have the accurate information. And we can help you with all of that. You can pop on again next week and ask that question again, be first up, and I can answer it. Or you can hop on over to the page or to my company at don'tgetmadgetpaid.com, and we can help you with some of these questions. But anyway, subscribe to our newsletter at don'tgetmadgetpaid.com. We'd love to have you on board. We'd love to help you to collect your unpaid child support, because that's what we do with child support recovery specialists. We love helping moms, get what's rightfully theirs. So thank you very much. Again, my name is Simone Spence. I'm the CEO and founder of don'tgetmadgetpaid.com. Subscribe. Check out the form in the comments below if you want to be part of our 100 Moms Project. And thank you. Remember, there's no sense getting mad about anything. So don't get mad, get paid.